Welcome to another edition of In the Kitchen with Tom, or what's become Cooking with the Saints. And I'm on a mission, and that mission is to share with you as many of the recipes as I'm able to from this beautiful book called Cooking with the Saints. And this book was a gift to me from a very special person. And tonight, we've got a really good recipe. Tonight, we're going to do a dessert tonight, and we are going to join John the Baptist. That's the saint for tonight, John the Baptist. And John the Baptist, when I think about saints, I can name maybe a handful of saints: Saint Francis of Assisi, Mother Teresa. I can't name all the saints. There's quite a few of them. But John the Baptist, I always knew John the Baptist from the earliest age, growing up in a big Catholic family. So the recipe tonight, it talks about how there were historical accounts of how John the Baptist lived in the wilderness, and they tell of him surviving on a diet of locust and honey. That's what he survived on, locust and honey. And obviously the story goes on to say not many cooks today are really going to want to cook locust in their kitchen. But this rich honey cake will be a witness to part of St. John's diet. A bundt pan and one 8x4-inch loaf pan will work on this, so that's what we're going to use. So anyway, as I've come to do with these recipes, I like to share with you a little bit about the saint themselves. And John the Baptist, Saint John the Baptist, he was born circa 5 BC, 5 years before the birth of Christ, and he died 31 years after the death of Christ, 31 AD. So that would have made him 36 years old. And it goes on to say that St. John the Baptist elicits a popular image of a scraggly, bearded man carrying a staff and dressed in a camel's hair garment. He lived in the wilderness, subsisted on locust and honey, and traveled from village to village as a prophet. He warned people to repent of their sins, and he baptized them. Sometime after baptizing Jesus in the Jordan River, St. John was arrested and imprisoned by the ruler of Galilee, Herod Antipas. Herod was angry because St. John had denounced his marriage to Herodias, the divorced wife of Herod's half-brother. I didn't know that. By Jewish law, the marriage was illegal. At Herodias' request, Herod ordered St. John beheaded. So there you have it, folks. There's a little bit of your background of St. John the Baptist. So with that being said, I'm going to put on my hat, and we will roll up the sleeves. And we'll get busy. And like I always like to do, I like to start by sharing the ingredients with you in the hope that you'll make this yourself at home. And it's not too complicated of a recipe, but it does have quite a bit of fixings. So we'll get started, and we'll take a look at the ingredients for St. John the Baptist honey cake. Here are the ingredients for St. John the Baptist honey cake. And there's quite a few. It seems like it's a simple recipe, but there's still quite a few ingredients. So let's start off with the first ingredient, which is in that large silver bowl off to the left. And that would be 3½ cups of all-purpose flour. And then continuing, we have 1½ cups of granulated sugar. Now, when I saw that 1½ cups of granulated sugar, I reached into the pantry and I remembered that I had bought this 0-calorie sweetener. So it actually says measures cup for cup like sugar. So I used 1½ cups of the 0-calorie sweetener. Now continuing on, after the sugar or the sweetener, it calls for 1 tablespoon of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, 1/2 a teaspoon of ground cloves, and it also calls for half a teaspoon of allspice, 1 cup of vegetable oil, 1 cup of honey, 1 cup of strong brewed coffee. And what I actually did was I used this here. I have a Keurig machine, and I used this here, which is Dark Magic Green Mountain Dark Roast Coffee. So that's the coffee. So 1 cup of coffee, and then 3 eggs, and those are going to be well beaten, and then half a cup of orange juice, preferably fresh. And you can see the fresh orange juice there. That's actually the juice out of 1 orange. And I fresh squeezed it, so that's going to be fresh squeezed orange juice. And then it calls for 1/2 a cup of brown sugar, which you see right over to the left of the next ingredient, which would be Grand Marnier, which is orange liquor. So it actually calls for 1/4 cup of whiskey, brandy, or orange liquor. So those are your ingredients, folks. And oh boy, this looks good. This is gonna, I hope, this is one of those recipes that you look at it and you just can't help but to wish that it comes out to look just like the picture. You see? Look at that. I'm not sure if I can actually get it focused. There you go. Look at that. You see? So I'm hoping, and I'll admit it, I'm praying a little bit. I'm hoping and praying that it's going to come out and it's going to look just like that. You see? So there's St. John the Baptist, and let's get started on this great recipe. Step 1 of St. John the Baptist honey cake is to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. And lightly spray a bundt pan and an 8x4-inch loaf pan. Or you can do 3 8x4-inch loaf pans. So you can take your choice. And since I had a bundt pan, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. I'm going to spray the bundt pan, and then the 8x4. I actually couldn't find an 8x4, so I went down to a local store here. Those of you in the United States, I went down to a place called Bed Bath & Beyond, and I bought a baking pan that was actually 8.5 by, I think, 4 1/4. Go figure. But anyway, then it says to do some flour around there, and I just have a little sifter. I thought it would be just as easy to do this little thing here, this sifting. So I'm just kind of sifting some flour around the inside of the baking bundt pan, I should say. And I'll do the same here for the 8.5 by 4. So there you go. All right, so now that that's done, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put together all of the dry ingredients into this large bowl here. So I have the bowl, and in the bowl, to refresh your memory, I've got 3.5 cups of flour. So it says to mix all of the dry ingredients. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put I'll put the sweetener in there, and then I'll go ahead and I'll put in the brown sugar. So that was 1.5 cups of granulated sugar, and the brown sugar was, if I'm not mistaken, that was half of a cup of the brown sugar. So now I'll go get the measuring spoons, and we'll get the rest of the dry ingredients in there. I've got my measuring spoons, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. So knowing my measurements, 1 tablespoon would be the same as 3 teaspoons. So I'm just going to grab 3 teaspoons. There you go. 3 teaspoons of cinnamon to make 1 tablespoon. And then the next thing I'm going to put in is 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So we'll grab the teaspoon of baking powder. There we go. So a teaspoon of baking powder. And then we want 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Oh, I bet this is going to be good. I bet this is going to be really good. So there's a teaspoon of the baking soda. And then we want 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So I'll grab the salt right here. And we will do, actually that's 1/2 tablespoon. You got to be careful with this stuff. So there's half a teaspoon. So we'll do half a teaspoon of salt. And then we want 1/2 teaspoon of the ground cloves. So I'm going to open this up and we'll get 1, if I can open this up, I'll grab a knife just out of, there we go. Oh, that smells good. That smells really good. Okay, so there. Now we're going to put in 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves. And then we're going to want 1/2 teaspoon. Got to be careful to read that correctly. 1/2 teaspoon of allspice. Again, this is just off the store shelf. So there is my 1/2 teaspoon. That smells good too. Also, I should say. But there is your 1/2 teaspoon of the ground spice. You got 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves. And then I had my tablespoon of the ground cinnamon, and I have the salt. So I believe that is, and then the 1/2 cup of the brown sugar, which I already added. So what it says is to go ahead and mix these ingredients really well. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to mix these, just mix these ingredients just like that. There you go. All right. So once these get mixed, I'll finish mixing these in a moment. But so it says combine all the dry ingredients in a large mixing bowl and stir them together until well combined. Now it says in a separate bowl, beat together the vegetable oil, the honey, the coffee, the eggs, the orange juice, and the brandy if you're using it, or the, in my case, the orange liqueur. So this is all, this has been stirred pretty well. Now I'm going to go ahead and get started on the wet ingredients. I've broken the eggs into this second bowl here, and I'm going to try to whip those really nice. There we go. Don't try this at home. Actually, you can try it at home, but you got to be careful, or it'll go all over the kitchen, and then you'll have a real mess. All right. So there's my eggs. So I've got 3 eggs, well beaten. Now I'm going to add the other wet ingredients. So we're going to add 1/2 cup. There we go. 1/2 cup of fresh freshly squeezed orange juice. And then we have 1 cup of strongly brewed coffee. And you know, I like to have my sweets at night, and boy, I hope that doesn't keep me up. But then we're gonna put in the 1 cup of vegetable oil. So I've got a 1/2 cup measuring right here. And you know what's interesting, I've always wondered, they say that, you know, you use one of these for liquid and then this for dry, but we'll see if it actually comes out to 1 cup. I'm kind of curious, and to be honest, I don't think that I've ever actually tried this. So let's see what we got here. That would be, well, it'd be 1 cup. Go figure. All right, so anyway, there's your 1 cup of vegetable oil. And then what else are we going to put in there? We're going to put in the 1/4 cup of the whiskey, or the orange liqueur. And don't tell anybody, but I'm just going to, well, I'll go ahead and use this. So, oh boy, let's see here. Now this is actually optional, mind you, but there is, oh, that smells good. So there is your 1/4 cup of orange liqueur. Now the only other ingredient that I believe I'm missing is 1 cup of honey. So we will grab my nice little thing here and we'll measure in 1 cup of honey. I think this is where it gets the name honey cake. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but I would think that, you know, with a cup of honey, that it's probably fair to say that it gets its name from this one particular ingredient. You know, they don't call it 3 eggs cake or 3½ cup of flour cake. You know, they don't call it half a cup of a brown sugar cake. No, but they do call it honey cake. So there is the honey going in. Oh boy, I bet this is going to be really good. Okay, now close your eyes because I'm going to lick the spatula. Boy, don't tell my mother. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and I could probably I'm just going to try to do this a little bit here. Let's see. I don't want it to go everywhere. No. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to forego the forego the electric mixer and do it the old-fashioned way. All right. So there we go. Whisking together until well combined. Now, what are we going to do? Pour the mixture into the prepared pans. Well, actually, I think they combine all the dry ingredients in a mixing bowl. In a separate bowl, beat together the wet ingredients. And then it says, make a well. There you go. It says, make a well in the center of the dry ingredients and add the liquid ingredients. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll do that. We will make the well in the dry ingredients. There we go. Let's see if we can do this. There you go. There, I'm making a well. I could probably actually even maybe turn the camera just a little bit, or bring the camera in a little bit closer perhaps. There you go. Just kind of some on the spot on the spot adjusting. So I'm going to go ahead and make my well. I think they mean a hole, you know, make a hole in the center. A couple weeks ago I made 3-hole chocolate cake. I wonder what would happen if I made 3 holes in this. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and pour that in. There it goes. And it just goes all over the place anyway. So I don't know why you got to make a hole. But anyway, I like to read the instructions. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and combine this, get it really combined well. Ooh, I bet John the Baptist, I bet he's smiling up there right now, looking down, watching me do this. Probably asking the Lord, please, Lord, let me go down and get a piece. Please. Come on, Lord. Lighten up. Let me go. I'll be back before dark. Oh, yeah, look at that. That looks good. That looks really good. Oh, I bet Lana down in the Villages right now is putting together her shopping list. Yeah. Oh yeah, that looks wonderful. I'm gonna have a piece of this right out of the oven, even if the coffee keeps me awake. Oh boy. All right, I think it's fair to say that I got that combined pretty well. There we go. Pour the mixture into the prepared pans, filling them only 2/3 full. All right, so we'll give it a shot here. We'll grab the bunt. There we go. See if I can't get this 2/3 full. Actually, it kind of looks like this will take up just about the whole 2/3. I don't know. Maybe they have different size. Maybe they have different size bundt cakes, but I'll go ahead and take the smaller one here. There you go. Very good. Ooh, I bet this is gonna be good. Don't you think so, Sebastian? There's a young boy. His name is Sebastian. I haven't met him yet, but I'm sure he is looking at this recipe and wishing that he were here to have a piece. Sebastian, if you were here, I would let you lick the bowl. Well, no, I wouldn't, because it's got the grandman. My bad, Sebastian. No, it's got the liquor in it. I wouldn't let you lick the bowl. Okay, but oh boy, I get myself in trouble sometimes. There you go. All right, so we're gonna see. We're gonna put this in the oven for. Well, how long does it say? Bake for 40 to 50 minutes. Wow. Okay. So we'll be back, folks, and we'll see how our St. John, that's about 2/3, I would say. Now this one here is not, but anyway, maybe I'll just have a smaller bundt cake. I don't know. We will see, as the saying goes. But anyway, let's get this into the oven. Well, you know, usually I follow the instructions to the letter, but today I'm going to make an exception. I wanted to get this bundt pan 2/3 full, which that is about 2/3. And I remembered that I had this baby little little pan right here. So I'd be willing to bet. There you go. Be willing to bet that I get the better part of this filled 2/3. And that'll be a good thing to send next door to the maybe to the neighbor. So we'll get that. There we go. Kind of making a mess here on the countertop. But that is just shy of, I'd have to say that's just about shy of a little bit more than half, if they're looking for proportion. And boy, you know what? I gotta tell you, I'm gonna lick the bowl. That's one thing nice about being alone, is I get to lick whatever I want. All right, so let's get these into the oven. Oh boy, does that smell good. Echo, how much time left on the timer?
You have 8 minutes left on your 45-minute timer.
All right, so this has been in the oven now for the better part of 37 minutes. Look at that. Wow. That looks good. That looks really, really good. All right, we'll give it a couple more minutes and then take it out. Oh boy, does this looks good. This looks really, really good. And if it tastes as good as the bowl, you know, as in licking the bowl, oh, it's gonna be wonderful. And I got a little bit of, I'm gonna treat myself tonight, as I usually do on Sunday nights. And I have a little bit of vanilla ice cream to go with my St. John the Baptist honey cake. So, oh, I bet this is just gonna be, I think this is gonna be out of this world, to be quite honest with you. Here we go. Oh boy. Oh, that's good. That's like beyond description good. I can't even really describe it. It's that good. Oh man. All right. You know, try this recipe yourself. You'll probably like it. It looks really, well, oh, it's delicious. This is good. I think I've said that several times. Oh, there's going to be some nice eating in the house this week. So take good care, everybody. All right. You know what I think I'll do? I think I'll freeze a piece, and I'll keep it in my freezer. And in my will, I'll tell them to take the cake out of the freezer and put it in my coffin so I can take it up to St. John the Baptist and give him a piece. And if Jesus is around, I'll give him a piece too. Maybe even Sister Teresa. So, all right, everybody, have a have a great day. See you later.